Hi everyone, I want to talk about the importance of the big Paragon breakpoints in Immortal. So if you have seen this already, when you're playing the game, you have these different hell difficulties and they are designed around certain Paragon ranges. And what this means is that the loot that drops in those difficulties will have a minimum requirement of the lowest Paragon level, and it will scale all the way up to the highest level. So as you progress your Paragons, the loot that drops will slowly increase in stats, in base values, and just becomes better and better, so that you are constantly in a cycle of replacing a loot, so to say. So I believe this slows down a little bit later down the line, but for example, right now, the server Paragon level on almost every server will approach 30 in like the next few days, which means that you should try to reach that breakpoint, because this is where you get a massive power boost. And I'm gonna show you how this was for me. So here's my monk, this is full free to play. And I managed to reach Paragon 30 just last night. And I have 1426 combat rating right now. And I haven't even done a lot of the weekly reset things this week yet. So there is a lot more to be gained. I'm probably gonna end up with like 1500, 1600 or so in a few days from now. So I'm very comfortably sitting above the Hell 2 requirement, which is 1220. So you can see that here. And this means that I can easily farm this difficulty, just like we found Hell 1, which has a way lower requirement. In case you're confused about this, these Paragon ranges on the difficulty settings are not actually entry level requirements. They are just the requirement to wear the items that drop. So you can actually go to the Hell 3, Hell 4, whatever difficulty, if you would be as powerful, to actually reach the combat rating requirement, but obviously almost no one does. So there are some people sitting in Hell 3 right now, I guess, but even if they farm it, they have to wait until Paragon 80, which will be roughly a month from now, to actually wear any of those items. But there is a reason to do that, and this is also something I have done with the Hell 2 difficulty, to pre-farm the gear and get a massive boost. So if you look at my items here, I have pretty much had full legendaries and most set pieces already prepared for when I hit Paragon 30, because I was farming Hell 2 outdoor zones, Hell 2 dungeons. I was doing that at roughly 1125 to 1150 of combat rating. So I was under the Hell 2 requirement, but it was kind of okay. And you see here the Paragon level 30 requirement. And this is what I have on pretty much all my gear now, and the stats are way higher. I can actually show you exactly the power boost I got from this. So here's my recording. This was when I was 29, just before I leveled up. And you see I have 2.5k damage, I have almost 36,000 life. I have invested in the survivor tree, which gives a lot of life. And here's my combat rating, which was like exactly 1150. And this means that just from reaching this Paragon 30 threshold, equipping a few items, and upgrading my items at the blacksmith from 7 to 8, I actually gained over 250 combat rating, and this is not even my final form. So I still need to farm a few more items in Hell 2 difficulty, but the power spike is insane. So in terms of challenge rifts, this is something like 8 levels, 9 levels, plus you also get the set items. So now we can wear 4-piece sets, because in Hell 2 you unlock more set pieces that can drop from dungeons. So for example, right now I have the Grace of the Flagellant, a 4-piece bonus, and this one is an incredible set bonus for a monk. And I'm going to talk about that in a separate video about all the sets that I chose. So I actually farmed 3 sets that I have in my stash, so I can use them for PvP, for PvE solo, and for dungeons and groups. And I'm basically prepared for all the different situations. And the reason why this Paragon 30 threshold matters so much is because it gives you easy access to Hell 2 difficulty, where you will get a higher loot. And if you look at the combat rating details, if you go over it, you can see that because of this monster combat rating difference I deal 37% less damage to monsters, and I take 60% increased damage, because I'm not at a 1220 threshold. I'm 70 rating behind before I leveled up, and now I'm like 200 above, and we can see the difference here. So if I go into it, you see that this penalty is completely gone, and instead I get a bonus of 11% damage, and I take 10% less. So if you combine those values together, I roughly have double the damage, and I take only a third of what I previously did. So the point I want to get across here is that usually Diablo Immortal is designed to be a rather casual game. you want to maybe play an hour or two a day or so to kind of cap out on most of the daily activities, do your daily quests, do your daily caps of hidden layers and legendaries and whatnot. But you also want to focus around those Paragon thresholds where you will enter a new difficulty. So this is exactly now. And in the next few days, pretty much everyone will reach Paragon 30 because of those XP bonus and XP penalty mechanics. So the third Paragon level right now is 26. And for example, I'm 30, I have 60% XP rewards. So it is rather easy to farm up to 30 at this point. And if you are further behind, you'll get even a bonus. So you get like 100% bonus, 200% bonus. Like if you're, for example, Paragon 15 right now or so. I don't know the exact like staggered system, but the bonuses increase massively. So if you wait like another week, it will be super easy to get to Paragon 30. So at those moments, it is definitely worth to try to make a push for this Paragon threshold so that you can equip all the gear, you can get your blacksmith upgrades, and suddenly you will feel way more powerful. And for example, the next LaSalle difficulty will be a breeze. You can go way higher in challenge rifts. You will be way better off in PvP. And it's exactly at a threshold where some people are already above it and some people are still below it. You're gonna have an advantage if you push for it early. For example, this week that most people will hit Paragon 30, there's also the Shadow War again. There's gonna be the Rite of Exile. And people are gonna try to be at their strongest on Sunday to try to become the Immortals. So this is definitely a goal to shoot for. Now is the time to farm the dungeons, get your 4-piece set bonuses from whatever set you want for your class, get your legendaries like replaced with Hell 2 loot, and then you can kind of chill out again for a while and slowly do the grind. I'm also going to show you an example real quick of how this looks in action. So for example, my previous challenge record was 31, which I could have beaten quite easily at this point anyway, because this was like a week ago or so. So I did progress up a bit on the way here anyway. But I just walked into this 31 after I had equipped all my new Paragon 30 loot, and I have my 4-piece bonus. And this was pretty much the same build as before. And previously I did like a 9-minute clear on 31 or so, and here we entered a 32. And you can see the timer here. I cleared this whole thing in like 2 minutes or something. Absolutely destroying even the boss in no time. And I can probably quite easily push all the way to like 40 or even higher now, which as a free-to-play player, I believe is a pretty good goal to shoot towards for now. It also means you will be able to progress higher in the Path of Blood, which has similar scaling to Challenge Rifts, so that you can get a lot of these extra marks here for your Shadow rank. That gives you some bonuses, that gives you a higher standing among the faction. So all these things tie into the Paragon system, and this is why it's important, especially on these Paragon thresholds, to go make a push for it. And while combat rating in general is a stat that you really want to stack as much as possible, the good part right now is that, for example, you're going to be sitting quite comfortably in Hell 2 difficulty at this point once you have acquired some of these items and upgrade your stuff. So I'm over 200 over the Hell 2 requirement of 1220 now. So this means I can also swap out some pieces that have lower combat rating, for example, especially the set pieces. If they don't roll like a super high stats, it doesn't matter all that much, because the scaling, like the bonus scaling that you get for being higher than the monsters, is way lower than the penalty scaling when you're below. So if you remember, I was like 70 below the combat rating requirement, and I took massively more damage, and I almost did no damage myself. And here, like, we barely get any bonuses for being above the combat rating. So you can definitely use this opportunity to farm up your 4-piece bonuses and get another massive power spike from the actual effects of those sets. And the good part is that once you have done that push for Paragon 30, all of the quest rewards and item rewards that you gain from various places, for example, from gambling here at the Rarities Antiquities guy, and from your bestiary return earns, and from your, whatever kind of daily rewards turn-ins, you will get Paragon 30 loot as long as you have reached that threshold and cleared a challenge with 30, which will be rather easy at that point. So meeting those two conditions will convert all of the rewards into the higher rewards. And from that point forward, it will be rather easy to farm up the new Hell 2 loot, just like we did earlier in Hell 1. And that's also it for this video. So to sum it up, you want to make sure you reach that Paragon 30 as soon as possible. And if you can run dungeons, for example, if you can do some outdoor farming, with a party, for example, even if you're a little bit below the Hell 2 requirement, it is really worth it to pre-farm the loot a little bit and then immediately equip it when you reach Paragon 30, because it's a massive power spike. You will be able to blast through Hell 2 easily. You will go up in your Challenge Rift clears, in your Path of Blood clears. You'll be better off in PvP. And again, for the Shadow War, for the Rite of Exile, these things matter. So that's all. I wish you good luck on your Diablo Immortal journey. Subscribe for more Diablo content, and I'll see you guys next time.